finish up. Tom Howard. I just was thinking, golly, you have love covered, you had nature covered, now I'm going to do sex. So, first of all, I find what happens with noir is most people just think it's mystery, and it's not just mystery. Noir is usually something a little bit bitter and a little bit more dysfunctional. And in it, I wanted to give you a few things about it thematically. The dominant themes usually are cynicism and paranoia, claustrophobia. It's all the dark stuff of life, and usually it doesn't end well. The reason noir is popular, and it's having a resurgence right now, is that we're in a dark time. And noir covers a lot of the elements, particularly political, in a different way than what we get, say, for example, in a thriller or an espionage. It's usually closer to home. It's usually something that happens to someone and they cannot retrieve who they were before and what has happened. Some of us probably feel like that right now, that we have lost something and we don't think we'll ever get it back. So in noir, that's why I found it fascinating to follow. So what I'm going to read from is the first and second chapter of my second noir, which is called Portland Prey. It's set in Portland, Oregon. The first one's set in Paris, and the third one will be set in Hawaii, in Waimea. So this is, I guess, the sex part. The Portland fog rolls up from the river and a mercury-colored blanket envelops the city. I navigate my leased Lexus along one-way downtown streets until I pull up to the Hotel Vintage at 4th and Broadway. Damn, I tug at the red leather mini skirt that keeps riding up my ass. Steve, my date, requested this outfit, something mod, he said. I unfasten the seatbelt and button my trench coat. I'm 43 and feel ridiculous wearing the mini skirt, knee-high boots, and gray schoolboy cap. The Vintage shop, however, told me this look was back in style. Style? What do I know? A light rain falls. A young doorman, charming and dutiful, opens the car door. Welcome to the Hotel Vintage. His smile twinkles like polished silver. His eyes shine. I give the young man a big smile and hand him my key fob, overnight bag, and a tip. I want to lie down, a short rest, but I can't. I meet Steve in 90 minutes. I head inside. No need to check in. My old criminal lawyer self had nerves of steel. My current self has learned to flirt and be sexy. The wig I wore in Paris would be too hot in the summer, so I had my brunette hair woven with different shades of blonde. My choice of outfits? Individualized for each date. It's all part of my new life now. It's all tiring. Trial work exhausted me in a good way. An expensive fitted suit served as armor in the adrenaline rush that kept me sharp and eager. I love performing before a judge or jury. Now I perform an entirely different role on the other side of the law. I hate it. All the men, sex, extortion, how dirty I feel. No matter how long I shower, no matter how much I scrub and douche, no matter how many meds I take, I deserve to never feel clean again. First, I kill an innocent man. Now I demand hush money from cheaters. My only redemption is to save Hank's life with the money I make from married men. Hank's eyes still hold the regret of his infidelity, even though he's in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the neck down. We are both in our own way, cut off at the neck. I straighten my shoulders and tap into sexy. I disgust myself. I want to go home. But I have no choice. I have to stay. Financially, flipping burgers won't cut it. Hank's business affairs are frozen until the lawyers settle the financial part of his business, including partnerships and patents. I no longer practice law. No one will hire me. All equity in the house was used to pay for Hank's 3 operations to stabilize his spine, his extensive therapy at Legacy Rehabilitation Institute, and his full-time nursing care. So if Hank is to walk again, I need $50,000 for an operation, even though it's a long shot and it has to happen fast before he deteriorates more. Inside Hotel Vintage's open lobby space, all bright blues and reds and polished wood, I welcome the relief from the cold gray winter. I tell myself it's almost over. To make the $50K, I've used Ashley Madison, the site where married men hook up with married women. I then secretly video our sexual encounter and after tell the date that he must pay $5K or I'll send the video to his wife. Half the men pay, half laugh in my face even when I point a gun at them. But no one has reported me. I have only $10K to go. But 2 dates in a row, I feel sick. I need a drink. Rubbing my chest, I drive down the nausea. This dating is like chemo, cumulative in its toxicity and side effects, but the only choice I have to save a life. My gut says this date Steve is a scumbag in some way. There are so many of them out there now, so many since the election. The whole world has gone completely berserk. I worry that Steve won't like this place, though he picked it. I make all my dates pick the rendezvous spot. Steve told me he's wild about retro. Despite its name, Hotel Vintage is not retro. I check my gun, still nestled safely in my shoulder bag. I pop a med. 2 drinks along with the med might get me through tonight, and as I pass by a white leather couch, I notice a pillow emblazoned with, "I try to behave." I say out loud, "That's a laugh." I've been talking to myself a lot lately. At the bar, I take the stool at the end and order a Manhattan. The bartender asks if I'd like to try one of his signature cocktails instead. He says, "The bartenders in town have a contest every year to win best signature cocktail, but maybe you're a wine drinker?" "Hell no," I say. "Being in this hotel I should be, but I like my liquor." He whispers, "Me too, but don't tell the management." We both laugh. The Hotel Vintage is all about wine. When my drink comes, I sip and nod at the bartender in appreciation. I check both cells, business and home. Nothing from Carmen, Hank's nurse. Good. No message from tonight's date. Not good. What if he doesn't show? What if he doesn't pay the $5K after I threaten to show his wife the video? The ones who have refused so far say their wives don't care if they're having affairs. I hope this isn't one of those, or an undercover cop. So far I've been lucky. A message pops up from Sam, tomorrow's date. "Are we still on?" I message back, "Yes, tomorrow, where and when?" Sam seems sweet but anxious. We've talked on the phone. He's a newbie. Tonight's guy, Steve, is a different story. I push my empty glass toward the bartender. "Again?" he asks. I nod. Deep research uncovered Steve's love of classic racing cars, trips to Monaco and Cannes, and Baccarat. He must think he's James Bond. His 79-year-old wife is 15 years older and wealthy. He uses a fake profile on Ashley Madison, and that makes me suspicious. Never mind the costume he's had me wear. While I wait for my second drink, I look up the 4th-floor atrium, a dizzying sight. All geometric angles. One half of the 4 floors is black and white, the other half golden light. A split personality? Kind of like me. A circular staircase of wood and wrought iron reaches the 1st floor. A modern white grape cluster chandelier hangs over the lobby. Modern spiff. Classy. Maybe I can take Steve for $10K instead of $5. Stabbing pains in my stomach again. A drop-dead gorgeous guy steps up to the bar and smiles at me. A woman steps up next to him and takes his arm. She's his equal in the looks department. She turns, meets my eye, and says, "You're so beautiful." I don't know what to say. Is this a setup? Did Steve set up a swap or orgy? But then the man and the woman just joined at another couple at the other opposite end of the bar. I guzzle down my second drink, embarrassed. I feel a tap on my shoulder and jump. Ah, there's my bird. Look at you. I turn. Steve smiles. He has thick-lashed blue eyes, a thin Fu Manchu mustache, and a smile that lifts off like a rocket. But he's also crusty, his skin mottled and leathery from the elements. He appraises me. I return the once-over. Flashback to the summer of love. Steve is dressed like a 60s rocker down to the skinny, hip-hugging, bell-bottom striped pants. His brown leather jacket has fringe. He's as skinny as a stick. I suppress a laugh. For some reason, my gut says run, but the money forces me to stay. I stand. Hello, Steve. He takes my hand, turns it over, and kisses my palm. I slip into vixen mode. Very nice to meet you. Chapter 2. Steve opens the door to our hotel room. High ceiling, clean lines, neutral colors, modern art, and floor-to-ceiling curtains along the far wall windows. A bright red couch reminds me of seduction and blood. A small dining nook with a round table, a globe lamp hanging in the center, and 4 white leather and chrome chairs seem normal enough. The bed, all pale whites and cream, have a blue as transparent as gin. I walk around the room, my nerves flaring, my stomach unsettled. Looks a little retro, don't you think, I say? Then the meds and alcohol kick in and the fuzzy cloak of not caring envelops me. Steve sets my overnight bag near the far side of the bed, the side I always sleep on at home, with the easy charm of someone who has done this many times. I wonder if Steve does this for the same reason that Hank did, that a man should take the side closest to the door, protection against intruders. I've ordered champagne. Can I order anything else for you, he asks. Steve has an English accent? What? That never came up in the info I paid for. This has to be role-playing for him, just like the clothes. He helps me remove my coat and whistles appreciatively. Nice legs. No one has ever told me I have nice legs. Never. It's all too smarmy. Too cliche in some weird way. Plus, he looks way older than his photo. Maybe this was some unfulfilled dream he had for himself, to have been a rock and roll star. But maybe it's just fun for him, like people who dress up for Comic-Con conventions. What can I do to make you comfortable, he asks. I want to say, send me back to the time before my sister's suicide, before finding out the truth about Hank, before Paris. Before. This was a bad idea. Something's not right with this guy. I grab my coat. Look, I'm sorry, but this isn't going to work. He steps back and says, have I done something wrong? Have I scared you? His accent is still thick, and I can't understand why there is nothing in my research about him being English. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't feel right. Something's off, and I have good instincts. I say this more for his benefit than mine. My instincts suck. I walk over to the bed for my overnight bag. There's a knock at the door. I grab the bag, and before I can make it to the door, a waiter wheels in champagne and a tray of hors d'oeuvres. I thought you might be hungry, Steve says. Food. Okay, so he's not rushing it. Maybe I'm wrong about him. Steve tips the waiter, and before I can make up my mind, the waiter's gone, and I'm left standing in the middle of the room with my bag and my coat over my arm. Put your big girl panties on, I can hear my sister say. I set the bag down. I'm overreacting, I must be. Steve still stands in the middle of the room, a worried look on his aging face. I'm not comfortable with any of this, I repeat. This time in my courtroom voice, neutral, non-accusatory, factual. I don't think you're English. Your name is not Steve. This act bothers me. I hesitate. Plus, you called all the shots. Never asked if I wanted to play Patty Boyd Bird, just given me instructions. He says nothing. I clear my throat. Am I right about you not being English? I'm surprised you know about Patty Boyd. You're young. No English accent, no charm. He doesn't like his cover blown. I don't feel young, and I'm not into this. I just want a nice romp with a married man so I can have what I don't have at home. That's what they all say, he says. What? I can't believe he just said that. He walks toward me, I step back. Oh, for God's sakes, relax. In one swift movement, he grabs the champagne and pops the cork. The pop makes me jump. He pours a glass and downs it. He pours another and hands it to me. Well, you sure spoiled this little fantasy of mine. And he chuckles. With a relaxed slouch, he takes a chair at the table, looks me over, and says, Go ahead, leave. The moment's spoiled, my one break with reality. I really thought you'd be fun. Serves me right for thinking. I shake my head. When did men get so petulant and self-centered, I ask. He doesn't respond. I don't need your permission to leave. The champagne is good. I think of putting down my purse and think again. Seeing the 5 to 10K go up in smoke, I say, well, since you're not going to go through with this, let's tell the truth. I drink half the champagne. I need a cigarette. Your real name is August. You're married to Betty Snare, and she calls you Gus. You're 15 years younger than she is. You like to gamble. There are no accounts of you playing around with other women, and you seem genuinely fond of your wife. He raises his glass. Oh, you're quite a PI. I roll my eyes. Are you an out-of-work actor? Don't insult me. Are you a gigolo? He laughs. Are you trying to piss me off? You have money. Why aren't you on the dating sites? The one for married people who are millionaires. What? And date women who are wealthy? He has half a smile that is unfortunately sexy. Why would I do that? Besides, Betty would find out, and I don't want to hurt her. As we used to say in the 60s, she's a groovy chick. I almost roll my eyes, but his smile shows true fondness and respect. He points to a chair. Would you please sit? You might as well enjoy the champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Keep me company for a while. Only if you order me scotch. Don't like champagne? This is good champagne, but no, it brings back bad memories. He calls room service and orders a bottle of the best scotch. At least he has taste when he's not dressing like an old hippie. What's the matter? I collapse into a chair and realize I've been gripping the gun so hard in my shoulder bag, my fingers have gone numb. My hand's gone to sleep. Must be that gun you keep fondling. Are you a lawyer, a cop, or a PI? He asks. Samantha Spade undercover? I burst out laughing. You're an asshole. Oh, I love a dirty mouth on a woman. Yeah, but your pickup lines suck. It happens. I pushed the champagne glass across the table. I was a lawyer. I recently trained as a PI. Why? Needed to. To investigate the men you date on Ashley Madison? He chuckles. None of this seems to bother him. Something like that. Now you're the one who needs new lines. We both grin. Look, why don't I get you another room for the night on me? He pops an hors d'oeuvre in his mouth. Or you can go home to your husband and get him to fuck you since this isn't happening. He can't. He's in a wheelchair. Steve, Gus shakes his head and eats another cracker. I've heard that one before, too. Yeah, he's a dick. Before room service delivers the bottle, Gus, I've decided to call him Gus, grabs a glass from the minibar, fills it with ice, twists off the top of 2 small whiskeys, pours both dramatically into the glass, and hands it to me. I greedily slug down half. The warmth moves from pelvis to face. Gus watches me like I'm some kind of science project. We had an argument, I finally say. I tripped at the top of the stairs, would have gone down, but Hank yanked me back. He lost his balance and did a header. Shit. I nod, polish off the rest of my drink, and to my horror, start crying. Then I burp, and we both laugh. I dab my wet cheeks. Sorry about that. The bottle of scotch arrives. He tries to get me to talk more, but I don't. Even though I'm tipsy from the 2-bar cocktails, the champagne, the scotch, and the med, I don't divulge that I plan to blackmail him. Instead, I blurt out, I murdered someone. Silence. Then he raises his glass and says, "You're quite a dame." He doesn't believe me. I knew he wouldn't. Who would? In the morning when I wake, he's gone. I jump out of bed. A wicked pain stabs between the eyes. I check my shoulder bag. The gun and purse are still there. I stumble over to the coffee maker, but can't deal with it. In the bathroom, I hate what I see in the round lit mirror. The crying last night laid waste to my eye makeup. Then there was the long, interminable attempt at screwing. 2 drunks pretending they could, but couldn't. Pitiful. I call room service for coffee, walk to the window, and look down on an alley. When I sit on the red couch, I discover 5 $100 bills splayed out like a fan. No note, no explanation. No, I'm nothing but a high-priced hooker who didn't deliver the goods. I want to rip the bills into tiny little pieces, but instead I slip them into my purse.